We're going to stay on trucking for a minute. Because y'all are also facing another existential threat, a long-term threat, though. A long-term threat. Y'all facing another existential threat. Let's get into it. Let me check my DMs, though, too. Check my DMs while we get into it.
Has been sort of racing to have enough capacity.
CNBC went behind the scenes with Aurora to see its self-driving operation in Texas.
We've driven right around about 500,000 miles pulling loads for customers. I think we're over 1,800 trailers delivered.
It has been a challenging road for self-driving trucks, with several startups throwing in the towel. The technology has taken far longer to realize than initially anticipated.
Part of the reason why it's difficult and this is one of the reasons why I like to invest in like the Teslas and stuff like that, is because, again, these companies are more than just manufacturers. They're also technology companies. And so what you're seeing from Tesla is, and Aurora is a very similar situation. What you're seeing from Tesla, though, specifically, is that they're now starting to have other car manufacturers partner with them in order to license the infrastructure that they built in the actual charging stations, but B, they're also trying to innovate while being profitable on the things that they're making money from. They're trying to innovate the possibility of starting to move into a driverless future. Now, I don't believe that this future is as right around the corner as everybody else think. And let me tell you why. And I'm looking at it from a business perspective, right? The reason why this technology is not as right around the corner as everybody else thinks is because they still have to vet out the technology, and so they're still building upon the technology. But B, we're also having to need the infrastructure updates, which is why Biden didn't pass the infrastructure bill, because our legislative branches is slow to then adopt the infrastructure updates that we need in order to make the technology viable. We need better roads. We need more technology on these roads. We need a lot of different things in order to get this stuff. We even need for them to pass certain bills in order for us to be able to adopt this technology and have these things on the road, right? And so when you're talking about technology, it can only move as fast as our federal government, which is one of the reasons why a lot of these other countries is kicking our ass. When you're talking about technology, but they're still going to continue to make the investment, and eventually they're going to get to a point to where one of them is going to have a breakthrough. Tesla is already shipping out a lot of these trucks over to Pepsi and Cheeto and Frito-Lay, and a lot of these different companies have already ordered a ton of these trucks. Walmart has ordered a bunch of Tesla trucks, but they're anticipating the possibility of being able to remove human error, and then drivers as far as how much it's going to cost for them to continue to move loads back and forth. And so not only are truckers having to face the ups and the downs of what it takes in order to be a trucker, and people flooding the market and TikTok continuing to fuck up y'all bag, but they're also going to have to contend with long term. And again, I don't think that this is going to be something that you have to fight for and deal with today, tomorrow, 2 years from now, even 5 years from now. But going forward into the future, when you're talking about long term, and a lot of these people are 20 and 30 years old, and so you have a lot more time before you get to the point where you can retire, even if you're not actually investing in your own future and your retirement and your savings and assets and all of this other type of stuff. You better believe that this technology is coming, and it is going to be a part of your future as far as automation, driverless technology, artificial intelligence. It is going to be another factor when it comes to replacing human beings. Absolutely.
And even as driverless cars hit the roads, it is yet to be seen how well they'll function in the wild.
Across the industry, many folks expect that it will take a couple of years before we'll even see point-to-point deliveries without the help of engineering talent.
I think it's tremendous opportunities for driver assist and improved safety.
Somebody said, I don't think you're factoring in how fast AI will speed up tech. It doesn't matter how fast it'll speed it up. It has everything to do with how fast we can implement it, or we can make it legal for it to be implemented across our roads. You're only as good as, and as fast as, and as effective as what law allows for you to be able to do. Listen, we have the money, the resources, the builders. We have everything. I did a live stream over the weekend where I broke down what my anticipated timeline in order to be able to get this house up, this single family home that we build in this rental property as soon as possible. We still fucking pulling permits. We are almost $11,000, and I showed the receipts inside of the Patreon. We are almost $11,000. I went by the house yesterday. They had everything staked out. The surveyor, the civil engineers, the architect, everybody is doing a job. We're hoping to get everything approved so that we can start breaking ground while we're in Japan. Everything is staked out. It's taken us over 3 months to get everything done and being able to get it all up and running. Why? Because we're dealing with cities, governments, and that's just on a small microscopic scale of building a house from scratch. When you're talking about infrastructure, when you're talking about these bills that's been passed a year ago, 2 years ago, as far as what it is that people are trying to anticipate is coming, when you're talking about lobbying, when you're talking about legislature, when you're talking about your mayor, your president, Congress, House of Representatives, when you're talking about all of these people playing a role in when technology is going to be implemented, it has nothing to do with whether or not artificial intelligence can speed up the technology. It still doesn't determine when these trucks is going to be on the road, right? So when you're talking about it, you also have to take into consideration every other factor that goes into it. I'm just telling you.
Driver fatigue, but I cannot see 80,000 pound trucks in my lifetime running up and down the road just as harmless, gentle giants.
You can get a ride in a self-driving vehicle in San Francisco. You can get one in Phoenix. We're on the road pulling loads for customers every day. This will be the next transformation in that space, and it's going to make it easier to get around. It's going to make it safer to get around.
Aurora was founded in 2017 by several self-driving industry experts. Sterling
What's up,
Anderson,
Azriel? Where
who
you been
previously headed Tesla's autopilot division, Drew Bagnell, who led perception and autonomy at Uber, and Chris Urmson, who helped start
Reading
and
Super
led
Chat
Waymo
shortly.
at Google.
We're on the mission to deliver the benefits of self-driving technology safely, quickly, and broadly.
In 2020, it acquired Uber's self-driving unit and received a $400 million investment in exchange for 26% of the combined company. Aurora plans to work together with Uber for ride-hailing of its self-driving cars.
Uber and Dara, they want to focus on building the network. How do you connect people with the means to get where they want to go? We want to focus on building the driver. And so for both of us, as we talked about the deal, it just made too much sense not to do.
The following year, Aurora went public through a SPAC, raising $2 billion. The company spent the first few years working on autonomy for cars, but had its eye on trucking as well.
Cars are a lot easier to operate, but we knew that the software and the system was ultimately going to have to work on trucks as well. We saw that as a huge opportunity, and so we designed that in.
I want to get into the challenges. I don't really care about this other stuff.
And we were going to work with our customers to figure out where's the most useful.
Driving trucks closed up shop in 2020. Embark, another early entrant focused on trucks, laid off 70% of its staff earlier this year, eventually selling its technology to Applied Intuition for $71 million. And driver is a challenging profession with high turnover.
The average truck driver in the US 20 years ago was 35, 10 years ago it was 45, now it's 55.
The driver shortage has been talked about forever, but it's really a retention problem because every year there's 450,000 new CDLs.
So they're basically telling you that here's the challenges. You got to be able to skip through this stuff in order to get to the meat. The challenges are this. A, they want to solve for the possibility of having all of this turnover every single year. I just did a report, not yesterday, but late last week, where basically they said that driver turnover and retention basically is at about 100%. Meaning for every single person that you can get to jump in a truck, you're going to get a whole nother person by the next year. The retention is absolutely abysmal. It is probably the worst industry when it comes to retention and maintaining and holding on to people. And so the problem that in most situations is, A, you got to solve for people. B, you got to make enough money in order to sustain the technology long enough for it to develop to the point to where you can implement it and get rid of the people, right? C, you got to continuously find investors. And then D, driver shortages. There are no driver shortages. The only thing that they're having problems with is maintaining and retaining drivers, right? And so technology is going to continue to go through their problems. You're going to still have to deal with legislative branches and all of that other type of stuff, unless you can find a company to do both, meaning being able to sustain a level of profitability while continuing to invest in its future, in which there will always be somebody that continues to innovate. Those are the challenges, and that is what the industry is coming to, which is one of the reasons I personally do not think that this is something that's going to be implemented within the next 5 years. But 10 years and out, all I'm telling y'all is this. I love my truck drivers. I'm sure there will always be a market for you, but it is going to drive the price down once it's implemented, because the longer that they keep technology into existence, the more they can drive the cost down. And I would get a backup plan and start investing in yourself so that you don't have to be interdependent on the industry in order for you to survive.